Good morning, Appian Government. How's everyone doing this morning? How's everyone doing this morning? All right, are you guys excited to see some real innovation now or what? All right, come on. We're gonna see some really exciting stuff this morning. So I'm Gregg Aldana. I lead Appian's Global Solutions Consulting Organization. I think I have one of the best jobs in the company. I lead one of the smartest teams here that get to go out and meet with customers and help them solution their digital transformation journeys. As a lifelong software developer who's been building applications since I was 8 years old, I'm telling you, you are here at the right place at the right time, and we're gonna see some show-stopping innovation this morning. But I'm not just talking to you this morning, as an industry software executive. I'm here 10 years ago, before I rejoined the private sector, I was sitting in your seat. I spent 15 years in the US government leading digital transformation projects. Spent probably the last 7 years, most relevantly, at the FDIC, where I led all of their, there you go, leading all of their capital investment application development during the subprime mortgage meltdown. Very interesting place to be. So what I'm trying to say is that I understand your challenges. I know the obstacles, the hurdles, logistical, technical, that you face in trying to modernize your agencies. And so, as you heard Matt mention earlier, we have invested massively in AI as a society, but the initial results, they're very disappointing. And let's just start with the uncomfortable truth in the room. We've poured $30 to $40 billion into generative AI, and MIT reports only 95% of organizations, they're getting zero value. Let me say that again, zero value. That's completely unacceptable. And honestly, it is not a technology gap. It's a value gap. And today we're going to show you how government, businesses, and technology leaders are flipping the story on that statistic by putting AI to work where the business value is actually occurring inside of your end-to-end processes. But let's face it, AI is hard. And building and maintaining your own AI infrastructure is even harder. Internal, do-it-yourself government build efforts for AI, they fail twice as often compared with projects where you're working with a trusted vendor or partner like Appian. And we've all seen AI on display, right? Most of it's AI on call, as a chatbot, waiting to be asked a question. We refer to this as AI as the helper, and it is not a recipe for creating business value. To deliver real value, AI must be a worker embedded in your most critical end-to-end mission business processes. AI needs process, but let's face it, process needs AI. Process actually gives AI a job, it gives it a team, it gives it guardrails, it gives it goals. It makes it effective, it makes it safe, and it makes it measurable. I'm a big car guy, and I always like to use this analogy. Think of process as the chassis, right? And AI as your engine, your V8 twin turbo engine. Without the chassis, that engine is just gonna sit on the floor and spin around and go absolutely nowhere. But when you actually anchor AI to a governed workflow, every prediction triggers an action. Every action captures data, and thus your system is gonna get more intelligent and smarter over time. And let's face it, AI, or Appian more particularly, is the process company. And federal agencies don't need Appian only for simple workflows, although many of you are using us in this capacity. Where federal agencies are getting value from Appian is to manage their most complex end-to-end business processes. And our world-class process engine can make it simple to manage these complex mission-critical work, ensuring that you can turn your hardest problems into some of your biggest mission success stories. When you embed AI in a process, you wrap it in the controls and the structure to let it do serious work for your agency. And here's what that looks like. AI decisions directly embedded in the steps, in the escalations, in the SLAs, no swivel chair, no manual handoffs, no emails or phone calls. This is where business cycles compress and compliance actually improves the more throughput that goes through the system. Now, Process is only half the story. The other half is data. And it is absolutely essential to have a transparent, a secure, and a performant virtual data fabric so that AI sees what it needs to do this serious work. Constituent information, cases, documents, any related or relevant regulatory information without the archaic, brittle integrations we've all come to hate over the years. This is what AI needs to perform serious work that provides real business value. And without this foundational data fabric in place, which far too many organizations in this room lack, AI will continue to be little more than failed pilot projects. And over a decade ago, Appian started developing our very own patented data fabric. I think we have about 16 patents on it now. And it's our way to connect data from across the government into one common ontology with scalable performance, robust security, and minimal overhead for IT. And believe me, a lot of companies are using this term data fabric now, and they are not created equal. Take a look under the covers. But really, doesn't this all sound way too good to be true? But what you will see today is customers and agencies are getting significant value from this patented foundation. And while this has always been our North Star as a company, in the era of agentic AI, which we're all living in, it is now a necessity for federal agencies. When AI can reason over a unified business context with great accuracy, what Matt promised earlier, trust in AI in the government then skyrockets. So if you think about this, the journey ahead really is two main areas. Appian's AI is built for delivering on two major outcomes. First, to automate what is slowing you down today. And second, to modernize how you're going to build tomorrow. And this is how Appian goes beyond AI experiments and helps agencies deliver real value with your AI investments. Now today, we're going to show you how Appian takes process and data and draws a clear path to AI business value. Now first up this morning, we have two absolutely sensational solutions consultants. Aaron Zephyrin and Becca Anderson are going to walk you through our product vision. They're going to showcase our latest innovations you won't see anywhere else. And it's going to illustrate to everyone in this room the journey that every federal agency can take from AI automation to AI modernization to AI assistance, and then finally, and most importantly, to AI business orchestration. After this segment, I'll be back to share more insight about measuring the return on investment of your AI investments and show you how Appian is helping government agencies put together all of this incredible value. But now, please, welcome to the stage, Becca and Aaron.
Thanks, Greg. All right, everybody, we got some cool stuff for you today. So before we dive into the how we do things here, we're gonna appreciate the why, right? So this is the real work that runs your business. We're not talking about simple, siloed tasks. We're talking about the complex, mission-critical processes that define your organization. So think about the processes that matter to you, right? Are we talking about benefit enrollment or grants disbursement, claims management, procurements? You know, it could be anything, right? These processes on the surface, they look different, right? But they share a common DNA. They span multiple departments. They rely on data from both legacy and modern systems, and they are governed by strict regulatory environments. So when you take these processes in Appian, you're getting a huge boost because you're able to apply an entire suite of automation capabilities to remove bottlenecks and improve business outcomes, making processes more efficient. But there are some activities that can't be automated with these traditional tools. There are decisions, there are actions, there are tasks that we still feel like we have to give to humans. And why is that? It's because, you know, they're too complicated or they're too risky for traditional automation. And these are the places that I want you to think about, right? Because this is where we have opportunities for applying Appian AI. Now, when we're talking about how to leverage Appian AI in your critical use cases, it is important to understand that Appian AI can be applied with multiple levels of autonomy. So we have some steps up here that I want you to take a look at. This is going to give us these different levels of autonomy, the versatility to apply our AI in a wide range of situations. And so what we're talking about here is how much decision-making power the AI has in a given context. So, I want to stress, these guys up here, there is no right or wrong answer. Each one of these has value. So this is about having the flexibility to apply AI to your use case with precision. And that precision means that we can apply autonomy when it makes sense, but we can rely on good old-fashioned process when it doesn't. This is the recipe for how we deliver real, reliable business value with AI. So we want to get through all of these today, and we want to walk you through a use case in the context of these different levels of autonomy. So let's go ahead and take a look. So what we're going to focus on today is veterans claims management, and we're going to show you how AI can be applied at every stage, making the entire process faster, smarter, and more efficient. So Becca, why don't we talk a little bit about the use case in general?
Thanks, Aaron. As you can see, we're beginning the claims process for a veteran who has received emergency care at a non-VA hospital. This initial process is all about authorizing this community care and ensure the VA is aware of the event. Once the event receives emergency authorization, one or more claim documents are produced, depending on whether it was surgical or not. So these claim documents are then submitted to the hospital, which is where our Appian AI-assisted workflow officially takes over.
Perfect. Thanks, Becca. So in this kind of use case, there is a lot of opportunity here for Appian AI to help automate the process. We're going to touch on each of our levels of autonomy here, but first, the one that we are at is level 1. We've got AI assisted right here. So Becca, what's going on in this highlighted reconciliation step that we have right here?
Yeah, here we're going to focus Jane, a healthcare claims manager who is new to the job. She's working through a specific claim in her work queue, and she wants to make sure that she doesn't miss any opportunity to ensure this veteran gets their care.
Great. So this sounds like a perfect use case for Appian AI. I want to talk to you all about how this is actually going to look inside the product. So we're going to use AI to assist Jane with this complex task of processing a claim so she can perform her role more efficiently. And to do this, we're going to use AI to create an adaptive experience that dynamically responds to Jane's context and need in real time. We want to get her to the right outcome faster. All right, let's take a look at the demo. Take it away, Becca.
So Jane is starting out on her claims manager dashboard. She asks the chat a very open-ended question, and the AI assistant evaluates the claim and immediately identifies an action that Jane can take. She needs to reconcile data discrepancies between the two claim documents. Rather than taking autonomous action, the chat prompts Jane to authorize starting the reconciliation. The AI assistant chat goes beyond a typical AI chat because it's connected to all of the data that Jane should have access to. She's able to see rich descriptions of actions recommended, and she can search across the agency's enterprise systems within this single chat window. Beginning the reconciliation now, the AI assistant can dynamically interact with other content on the page, such as highlighting the data discrepancy in question, and it can enable the user to intuitively act within the chat itself by providing an in-chat form with drop-downs and buttons. That is much easier to use than having to type out every answer and guides the user to act from a single place, the chat, while remaining connected to the data that they need to make decisions.
But what about another scenario, right? The dreaded, that's not what I meant scenario where none of the options that the chat is giving me are the ones that I actually want. How are we going to handle that?
Great question. In this case, when we add the new information, the assistant responds intelligently, writing back to the systems of record with the new data that Jane provided.
So what we're seeing here is that the chat can actually adapt beyond the standard script. It can create an experience that's dynamic enough to roll with the punches.
Exactly. As a final step, Jane is going to make a decision about whether the claim is ready to advance to payment status. To facilitate this decision, the assistant produces an inline form for Jane to select the claim status from the dropdown, routing the claim for closure all from the single control center of this assistant chat. On the left, we now see the claim processing is complete. Jane performed this complex casework without ever having to leave the conversation.
Thanks, Becca. Let's get back to our use case. All right, so essentially what you just saw, we're marrying the benefits of contextual dashboards. We're used to seeing those in Appian, but we're taking those and we're marrying them with the adaptive experience of chat. So this relationship is a two-way street. And so as you saw in the demo, the dashboards can inform the chat, its understanding, and then the chat can make changes, can write back to the dashboards based on what's going on in the conversation. Now, We can do much more with AI as part of this process. We can actually increase our autonomy level. So you can see, we're up to level 2 here. And so we can actually, instead of just having AI as an assistant, as we just showed, we can actually have AI automate entire tasks. So here we are at level 2, and at this point in the process, we're handling the ingestion of claim documents and all of the downstream processing that is associated with those. So this is a critical step. This is one that has historically taken a lot of human manual work. Now, I know many of you out there probably have similar situations when it comes to processing documents, and I don't need to tell you that manual document processing can be a huge bottleneck in your process. Even if the rest of the workflow is totally streamlined, when you have something like this, it can totally clog a critical workflow, delay outcomes, and also introduce all kinds of different risk factors. So here's the solution. Instead of manually processing all of those documents, we can add Appian AI into the process to intelligently automate the extraction and classification of unstructured document data. And by streamlining this critical step, this often manual work with AI, the entire process will now run more smoothly. So forget everything that you thought you knew about traditional IDP. I think when we think about that, we all think about slow, inaccurate, context-free tools, endless manual validations. Like, is this actually even worth it? I'm not even sure. But what we have here is Appian Doc Center, and it is a game changer. It streamlines creating highly accurate, reliable extraction and classification models, all powered by the intelligence of generative AI, and that's kind of the secret, right? Doc Center is not a standalone bolt-on either. It's woven into the process platform, so that means when you create one of these models, you can drag and drop it right into your critical workflows and then resolve these bottlenecks right where they exist. And finally, truly, if you want, getting humans all the way out of the loop if you need to. So we've built robust, out-of-the-box validation and reconciliation to give you unshakable confidence in the results that you get from this system. And this is not just incremental improvement. This is the utopia of genuine, straight-through processing that everybody would really love to believe in, but often finds hard to believe. And we are getting there faster than we ever thought possible. All right, let's take a look at a demo of this. Go for it, Becca.
All right, extracting data from a document is fast and easy. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Yeah, so true. There are so many pitfalls when it comes to traditional IDP, juggling different document formats, different fonts, different languages. Sometimes we have bad scan quality. These are all areas where traditional IDP has struggled.
And that's only half the battle, Aaron, because the ultimate goal of IDP isn't extraction, it's automation. Why? So that patients' emergency claims can be processed faster. And you can't have straight-through processing until you can truly trust the data that your AI provides. Doc Center's validation capabilities are designed to build that exact confidence. Doc Center is built to support all of your organization's models for classifying and extracting documents. Today, we're going to focus on the model for extracting data from a health insurance claim form. This model detects and extracts data from the form for all of our relevant patient fields, including tables and signatures that trip up standard OCR tech, which was that old way of scraping data off a PDF. With a clear accuracy score for each field, I can see exactly where the model needs to be fine-tuned as it processes more and more of these claims. What would it mean for your organization if the model was so accurate it could process the document straight through, no human in the loop required? AI can't be trusted to do that, right?
Well, not old IDP, right? But these things are changing, right? We have built this in a way where the model can check itself with AI, but also with business rules to determine if a document can be processed automatically without any human in the loop.
Exactly. We can configure the rules right here, meaning we apply our own business logic so we control how decisions are made. For example, if a patient is the same as the insured, do their dates of birth, gender, and social all match? Which social security number did they give that's actually the valid one? We've added a rule to ensure that the data being extracted from the document actually makes sense. And if it doesn't, the document is flagged for review.
That's right. So here's where it gets really powerful, right? We can leverage the Appian data fabric to validate the data that's being extracted directly against your government systems of record. So we're going beyond simple yes and no checks, right? This is more than just a confidence in the results. This is us performing complex cross-references to your other systems to truly verify if the claim is valid.
And in Doc Center, we're testing these rules on sample data to make sure they are working before we use them in production. As a backup to the business rules, we also have an AI reviewer. This is a powerful secondary validation layer that double checks the initial extraction and automatically flags any data that it deems uncertain or potentially incorrect. This is another line of defense against AI errors, boosting model accuracy.
So what we're seeing here is that combining AI reviewer checks for extraction confidence and the custom validations that drastically reduce the need for manual reconciliation. And together, these things build confidence in your AI extracted data. This is truly a game changer.
Exactly. Combining these, Appian Doc Center drives automation that you can truly trust when the mission matters. Now let's put these validations and AI reviewer to the test. We'll jump now to a live instance of this extraction model in action. This is what the human-in-the-loop validations and experience looks like. This is after those validations and AI reviewer have flagged something. The human is going to get this task to review the flags and reconcile the data discrepancies. In this document, both of our rules flagged errors. So the AI is going to suggest the appropriate values so we can easily accept those suggestions and send this document on its way. This is an opportunity to capture for our audit trail what decision the AI made and that the human accepted that decision, because every action, whether AI or human in Appian, is tracked and logged for complete transparency. Now back to Aaron for what comes next.
All right, let's get back to our use case here. So using Appian Doc Center, we've been able to automate that document processing with both high efficiency and high confidence. The data we just gained from those documents is essential to the next step in these downstream workflows, right? But before we move on, I just want to talk a little bit about the successes that we're seeing with our customers getting out of automating with Appian Doc Center today. So I'm going to put some impressive numbers up here on the screen for you. This is the kind of change that we are seeing with Appian Doc Center in our customers' environments. I don't need to tell you these are not small improvements that we're seeing. These are transformative changes to mission-critical processes like the one that we've been talking about. And for example, cutting underwriting time by 75%, making patient intake 83% faster, automating 95% of orders. With these results, it is no surprise that usage of Doc Center is increased tenfold year over year. So coming back to our process. We've used AI as an assistant for our claims manager. We've leveraged Doc Center for ingesting those claims up front. Now, in between those two steps, we have a need to actually validate the claim. And so this actually poses some new challenges. It's not a simple task, right? This is not a straightforward approach that we have to take here. It's a complex and open-ended activity. So, just put yourself in the shoes of a claims adjudicator. They have to evaluate a claim against complex submission requirements. They have to apply numerous business rules. And so you have to do this with data coming from multiple systems of record. And they have to make judgment calls with all of this information, all before they can actually take action. It's a lot of different behaviors. It's a lot of variance, a lot of different things that can go wrong and change on a case-by-case basis. So if you think about it, most processes have some degree of these open-ended tasks, and that's what makes it really hard to actually automate them end-to-end. And up until now, with traditional automation and even with simple AI, it really hasn't been possible. But these limitations, they are changing. And now, the added flexibility of AI-orchestrated process means that we can now automate a broader range of tasks, expanding the value that you can unlock and the efficiency that you can bring to your operations. And how we do this? We do it with Appian Agent Studio. So this is a native capability of the platform. It enables you to build, test, and deploy intelligent agents that act as true digital workers in your processes. And this is accompanied by a framework of governance and control necessary to manage these agents safely and effectively. We know at Appian that this is important. When you're giving AI this level of autonomy, this is something you want to take seriously, and we absolutely do. But back to our example. Right now, this claims process validation step is taking humans about 48 hours. People have to manually obtain data. They have to go through it, cross-reference systems. They have to perform reviews by hand. Let's take a look at how we can use Agent Studio to take that 48 hours and reduce it down to less than 5 minutes.
Here in Agent Studio, I've configured an agent to handle our claim validation. And configuring an agent is simple. You just define 4 key areas. First, the goal. This is plain English. We've told the agent its job: review the submission requirements, analyze the new claim documents to validate the veteran's identity, assess the claim for potential fraud, and finally, either provide authorization or escalate the case to a specialist. based on your findings. Next, we give it tools. These are the skills and knowledge it needs, like our claims submission requirements document. The agent can read and understand this document. Now, if our claim requirements change, we just upload a new document. We don't have to recode any complex rules. We've also given it actions, like the ability to issue an emergency authorization or query and update different data sources. Finally, we wire it up. Inputs are the claim documents, outputs are the eligibility decision, the confidence score, and a summary of AI's decisions. That's it, let's run it. In Agent Studio, we can open that monitoring view to get a full audit trail of an agent's reasoning from any past run. We can see every step the agent is taking. This does not happen in a black box. First, it's reviewing our submission requirement documentation. This is that dense document containing all the requirements for this agent's execution, and so these rules will guide the agent to ensure compliance. Then, it automatically reads that CMS 1500 form and extracts key info about our veteran. Using those details, it queries the veteran status and eligibility records. We can see here that it has confirmed both. And after a few more checks, it's conducting a final step of making a risk assessment based on all of that information that it has collected. Because it's highly confident, this agent takes the final action, issuing an emergency authorization for the claim. We can see a summary of its findings on the right, as well as the decisions it has made as output variables. What took 48 hours of work is now done in just 5 minutes. And you might be wondering, how do we add this powerful agent to our workflow? It's just one node in the process model. We simply drag in the Execute AI Agent Smart Service. I see some folks taking out their phones. Feel free to take pictures. This is the power of Appian AI. AI and process working together to automate end to end.
Pretty impressive, Becca. So far, this challenging, open-ended task, we've been able to enable AI-powered automation with Agent Studio. And so here's the thing. Did you notice that the tools that we provided the agent, these are the same elements that comprise our applications that we build in the Appian platform? So it's important to understand, we're not sitting down to build an agent and then building a bunch of new tools for that agent to use. You already have everything that the agent needs right in your Appian application. The agent is the engine that you point at your process to make it orchestrate itself, but you're already good to go. So this makes Appian's Agent Studio the fastest way to build truly valuable agents inside of your enterprise. So to wrap up our tiers of autonomy, we've been able to intelligently assist users with AI, we've been able to automate individual tasks with Doc Center, and now we've been able to orchestrate these multi-step, complex, open-ended tasks with Agent Studio. So throughout this process, we've now made it faster, we've made it more efficient, and we've produced better results for both our claims manager and our veterans. How about that, guys? What do you think about all that AI? Now, some of you might be thinking, I love what I'm seeing. I can't wait to use Appian and AI to improve my processes, but I've got a problem. My focus and my time, my budget, it's being tied down by legacy platforms and applications, all of that tech debt. But with Appian, we've got a solution for you, right? We allow you to use AI to modernize these legacy applications quickly and to move them to a modern platform that you can use as a foundation for that future innovation. And so what we're talking about here is something called Appian Composer. And so using Appian Composer, business users and IT can collaborate in real time to transform requirements into new applications. And so this ensures alignment from the very first stage of planning, so the resulting application that you get actually meets your business needs. So bringing your business users into this fold of application design paves the way through burning through your IT backlog, because now you have a way for everyone to contribute. So let's go to a demo so we can see Appian Composer in action.
All right, we're going to build an application from scratch together, keeping with our theme of claims processing. Right now, this process is a slow, manual process of email and documents. We're going to modernize it in just a few minutes. Many projects start with a requirements document. I'm going to take our requirements and upload them into Composer. Instantly, Composer will transform that dense document into a structured visual plan. No whiteboards or spreadsheets needed.
That is a huge time saver. So what exactly did Composer generate from that document?
Let's have a look. First, It laid out our business needs as a clear story map, identifying key user actions. It's also defined our application personas, like the claims agent and the claim recipient.
And this plan up here, this plan is fully interactive, so our stakeholders can refine it. They can simply drag and drop things around if they want to reorder that story map, or they can use the AI copilot over on the right to suggest new features.
Exactly. So here in the chat, we've described a new reporting module that Composer added to monitor the SLA compliance of our claims managers. Now, let's look at the Process tab. Here, Composer has automatically generated a visual workflow for our entire claims process. We can use this tab to conduct walkthroughs with stakeholders and to get immediate feedback to ensure alignment before development starts.
That's right. Everything you are seeing here is all about that business and IT collaboration. So again, you know that at the end of the day, you're going to get the right application.
Or at the start of Sprint 0, you get the right application.
That too.
Okay, next, let's check out the business rules. Based on our document, Composer has suggested key business logic, like a rule to calculate the priority of the claim based on the claim document and services reported. We're capturing the application's core logic before we build anything, which clarifies requirements and reduces risk.
So we have the requirements, the personas, the process, and the rules. So show us what the end user will actually see.
This rich plan translates directly into the user experience with auto-generated screen mockups for stakeholders to review. Let's look at the landing page for our claims management site. It's a great starting point, and it's easy to customize. Business users can tweak layouts directly or use AI Copilot for fast changes, like adjusting sample data or adding a whole new section. And let's not forget about data. Since we've defined our process and rules, Composer has built the right data foundation to support it. We can even map these tables to our existing systems, because Data Fabric doesn't require all of this data to live in Appian. But connecting to this data is what makes our application so powerful.
So we started with a document, and now we have a complete plan for our app. So what does this mean for our developers?
It means they get a massive head start. And even more importantly, they know they're developing in the right direction. By generating these objects, Composer creates the building blocks of our application. Interfaces, data types, security groups, our process model, and these expression rules, all usable in Appian. And from here, they tailor the application to their exact needs. Aaron, any closing thoughts?
So think about the processes that matter for your business, right? Think about the changes that you want to make to those processes, to those applications. With Appian Composer, you can quickly realize your vision for an AI-powered future across all of your critical processes. And I can tell you, as someone who builds on this platform quite regularly, anything to avoid the manual process of having to build out my data models by hand, that's something I am personally very excited about. So thank you, Becca. That was fantastic. You really showed the value this is going to bring to our customers. So now, after all of that AI goodness, what I would like to do is bring Gregg back out to tie it all together for you guys. Thank you very much.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, that innovation. I'll tell you, when 15 years ago when I was in the federal government, I really could have used AI Composer. Would have made our projects a lot more simple. But just think about how this is going to transform the way that we approach things now, the way we process documents, the way that we approach modernization and automation. So let's give a round of applause to Aaron and Becca. How about that? I mean, they were just unbelievable. So as you can see, from assisting your developers in automating tasks to orchestrating your most complex work with autonomous agents, this is the path to AI that delivers real, measurable business value. And it all runs on the Appian platform. So let's bring this all together. The 4 pillars that turn AI from pilots into government-wide performance, adaptive experience, Doc Center, Agent Studio, and Composer, working together as one unified and cohesive platform. Let me say that again. One unified and cohesive platform. There's a lot of platforms out there that claim to have all these capabilities, but when you sit down to actually use them, they're not unified and they're certainly not cohesive. This designed to operate inside a single seamless motion. You design the flow, you're going to automate your work, and you're going to optimize in production continuously. Now, with all of this power, It's creating really new critical questions for every government and business leader in this room. How are you going to manage this new digital human hybrid workforce? How are you going to govern it? How are you going to measure its impact and prove its business value? This is the heart of the AI return on investment problem that is plaguing companies and governments worldwide. And it's why 95% of companies and agencies are seeing zero return on investment. And if the black box is a problem with one AI agent, it's going to be a mission showstopper when you have hundreds of AI agents deployed throughout your agency. If you can't see it, you can't scale it. So that's why at Appian, we've made return on investment observable. Our measurements surface when AI is accelerating business process stages, where it's stuck and it's hindering the mission, and exactly when you need to intervene and get that payback first. I think Matt talked about this, the concept of business control. And I want you to remember this. You can't manage what you can't measure. Let me say that again. You can't manage what you can't measure. In our industry-recognized intelligent process mining and process optimization capabilities, wrapped up in what we call Process HQ, is your answer. This is why we built Process HQ. This is not theory, and it is certainly not a fancy commercial with a famous spokesman that you might have seen from another company. This is real. This is your control tower for AI and business process. And guess what? It actually works. It's how you can unlock continuous improvement and measure a return on your AI investment in real time, not 6 months from now. This is how government agencies, yes, government agencies, can shift their mindset from a one-time legacy process improvement project that we've all been a part of over the years to intelligently operationalizing continuous change as part of your government agency's normal business operations. This new mind shift in government is clear. Driving efficiency and measuring business value now will become part of your mission control. And really, our Process HQ completely enables this new government mindset. It provides a guided, AI-driven path from data to decision. And it starts with Discover, with our patented data fabric, which you saw earlier. It will help you unify 100% of your business data, from legacy systems to modern apps, one trusted, one unified view. Next, Identify. Process HQ isn't waiting around for you to ask it questions. It will proactively and automatically surface the most critical bottlenecks, compliance deviations, and inefficiencies in your most critical end-to-end mission processes. It moves you past the what and starts telling you the why, guiding you directly to the root causes of the problems plaguing your agency. And then finally, and probably most importantly, act. This isn't just a dashboard to report the news. Process HQ is connected to our entire business orchestration and automation platform. When you see an insight, you can act immediately, launching a new automation, assigning a new task, or even deploying a new AI agent, all from one single place. This is how you go from insight to action in minutes, not months. Think of this as your government mission control for AI value. You discover real flows, identify the friction, and act. Change the process and watch your KPIs move in real time. This closes the loop between ambition and outcomes. And this creates a powerful AI improvement flywheel. It's the core of how governments can drive true business transformation. AI agents execute the complex work. Process HQ will monitor both the end-to-end performance of both humans and AI in real time. AI-driven insights for the next bottleneck or the next opportunity for improvement. And you get to act immediately, which is kind of rare for a lot of government agencies. But you get to act immediately by deploying some low-code improvements, a new automation tool, and the process gets smarter, faster, and more compliant. Every cycle fully auditable and delivers measurable business value. Now, this continuous loop of AI-driven work, it's governed by process intelligence and instantly acted upon when our business automation platform helps you achieve, I want you to remember these words. It will help you achieve durable business transformation. Not a one-time project, not an effort for just this year or until I retire, durable business transformation. And this flywheel is only possible when you run on an enterprise-grade foundation that unifies AI, process, and data from the ground up. Now, when I was in the government, independent validation matters. And it made me help make a lot of decisions. And we are proud that Appian is a leader in Gartner's Business Orchestration Automation Technology, affectionately known as BOAT. That's the new Magic Quadrant that brings these capabilities together. And we started out in the Magic Quadrant this past October. But we're also a leader in enterprise low-code. And thanks to everybody in this room and our customers globally, we have a 99% willingness for existing customers to recommend us to new customers. And why does this matter? Because in order to solve the most critical business challenges that are plaguing your agencies and get value out of AI, you need one platform that can both orchestrate and build at enterprise-grade standards. And the journey to AI autonomy is only possible on a platform that you can trust, and that's where all the leading analysts agree. So in closing, the age of AI is here, and I couldn't be more excited. And we, as a company, couldn't be more enthusiastic to partner with you on this journey. Appian gives you the power to move beyond the hype and put AI to work safely and at scale. So where do you start? Pick one mission-critical process: benefits enrollment, grants distribution, claims management, as we saw today, or even a complex procurement. Put AI to work where the work is. Stand up Doc Center. Kill those paperwork bottlenecks plaguing every federal agency. Use Agent Studio. Orchestrate some cognitive tasks. Ship your first app with Composer and put the business value measurement on top at the time of deployment. Within 90 days, you can bring those scorecards back to your agency's leadership and show them how AI provides real business value. Appian is the platform to orchestrate your most critical work in the agentic era. And we are ready to partner with you to orchestrate the most critical processes without any of that complexity and deliver real measurable business value. Thank you very much.